Hey everyone, today we're diving into a song called Still Human. Now, this is a really raw, personal story about what it feels like to be an outsider, but it's also kind of like a mirror, one that asks us to take a hard look at our own ability to feel for others. And honestly, it all kicks off with one single devastating line.
Right from the jump, the song hits you with this. And it lands, you know? It's such an honest, brutal comparison that really sets the stage for everything that follows. It's a reminder that words aren't just air. They can have a real physical impact. They can hurt. So, to really get the full weight of that emotional pain, we have to try and see the world through the eyes of the person in this song. And that world, it's a story of deep alienation. You can just feel that sense of being an outsider getting built, line by line. This person is new, they don't know a soul, and they didn't even want to be there in the first place. And right away, they're being judged for the most surface-level stuff, like they're close. They're basically turned into an other before they even get a chance to say a word. And this, right here, is where the real struggle is. Just look at the difference between how the world sees them and how they see themselves. On the outside, all they get is judgment. But on the inside, there's this really strong sense of self-worth. They know they're real, they're respectful, but to the people staring and pointing, none of that seems to matter. But this isn't just about one person's story. This is where the song kind of pivots, right? It zooms out from that really personal pain to call out a much, much bigger problem, the sting of indifference from all the people who just stand by and watch. I mean, this line is a total gut punch. It perfectly captures that whole bystander thing, doesn't it? That selfish mindset that lets cruelty happen just because it's easier to look away. It's a really powerful critique of just not caring. And the song doesn't pull any punches showing us what happens next, because this isn't just about hurt feelings. Indifference leads to these devastating, irreversible things. That line, another room empty at home, man, it's just a chilling reminder of the ultimate price people pay when nobody cares. So this level of pain, it can be really hard to wrap your head around. How do you even start to process it? Well, it turns out there are a couple of psychological frameworks that can actually give us a language for this kind of suffering. So first up is the grief cycle. Now, we usually think of this in terms of, death, but it actually applies to any major loss. And that includes losing your sense of safety or belonging because of bullying or being excluded. It really helps explain the emotional roller coaster someone might be on. So you have these 5 stages. And when the singer says, "I don't want to live like this," it just hits you how deeply that connects to that 4th stage, depression. It's that feeling of profound sadness, of hopelessness, that can just settle in when the pain feels like it's never going to end. Okay, so there's another way to look at all of this, and it gets at something even more fundamental, our basic human needs. It's an idea called Maslow's hierarchy. Think of it like a pyramid. You have to build a solid foundation at the bottom before you can even think about getting to the top. So if someone's basic needs, like feeling safe from bullies or even having enough food at home because of poverty, if those aren't met, it becomes almost impossible to focus on the higher up stuff, like making friends or building confidence. You just can't reach your full potential if your foundation is crumbling. And living with that crumbling foundation, day in and day out, it takes a massive long-term emotional toll. There's this old proverb that just captures it perfectly. Hope deferred makes the heart sick. Constantly just waiting for safety, for acceptance, for things to finally get better, it just wears you down. And after all that theory, the song just yanks us right back to the human cost with this absolutely heartbreaking question. It really shines a light on the tragedy of it all, the misconnections. It suggests that behind every cruel act, there's a lost chance for friendship, for understanding. So after all the alienation, all the indifference, and all that psychological pain, the song pulls every single thread together for one central, really powerful plea. When you boil it all down, this is the simple, undeniable truth the song leaves us with. It doesn't matter what someone's background is, what their clothes look like, or what they're struggling with. Their humanity, it's not up for debate. Everyone is still human, and every single person is worthy of dignity. And so the song turns it all back on us. It asks for just a little something, a tiny bit of kindness, a moment of just consideration. And that's what it leaves us with. What's the small thing that you will give today to see that we're all still human?
Attention. Incredible.
I love that the people who made this video, their company is called Phil and DeBlanc Multimedia Enterprise.
Yeah, I saw that.
Do you know how to pronounce that?
Phil and DeBlanc.
Fill in the blank.
Oh, I see what they did there.
It's perfect, right? It's fill in the blank. It's perfect, right?
Not even from around here, nobody really knows my name. And from the way they're looking, it doesn't seem like things will change. Some people point and stare because my clothes have no brand name. And I don't have time for this, didn't ask to move anyway. Maybe someone will accept me, I'm real, I don't play no games. I try to be respectful, mama raised me to be that way. But all the laughs and jokes they say sting just like physical pain. And I don't wanna live like this, but I sure don't wanna die today. Maybe you should give me a little something, then you would just see I'm still human. I don't have to live up to your opinion. We can get along if you let me do me. Just keep quiet, got their own insecurities. Say their friend was getting tried up, they make sure to be all in that beat. It's kinda sad when you realize some people really think this way. And as long as it's not me, I don't care about what others say. The very next thing you know, another classmate is gone. Another video posted, another empty room at home. What's the point of being reckless with your thoughts and your words in it? The very one you tortured could have been your only friend. Oh, maybe you should give me something. Yeah. Then you would just see I'm just like you. I don't have to live up to your opinion. We can get along if you can do me. Maybe you should give me a little something. Then you would just see I'm still human. I don't have to live up to your opinion. We can get along. Let me do me. Let me do me. Let me do me. Let me do me.
Today, we're going to dive into a story about the deep and often invisible threads that connect all of us. It's a story that starts with a kind of pain many of us know, but it ends up revealing something really profound about empathy. And it all circles back to two simple but powerful words: still human. So let's pull on that thread together and see where it leads. This feeling right here, this is our starting point. It's an anonymous quote from someone talking about being bullied, and it just perfectly captures that specific kind of hurt, doesn't it? That feeling of being made smaller, of having your own humanity questioned. So we're going to start by listening to a chorus of voices, real people sharing their own memories of being bullied. These are actual testimonies from people who felt completely alone, targeted, and just misunderstood. And just listen to the words they use: outcast, nothing. The theme here isn't just about mean jokes. It's about being actively erased, treated like you don't even exist. Someone else mentioned being treated like they were toxic just because I wasn't like everyone else. It's the unique pain of being made invisible. But what's really amazing is that for a lot of these folks, the story didn't end there in that dark place. That whole painful experience actually became a launching pad for finding themselves. As one person said, as long as you have that confidence in yourself, nobody can break you down. And this right here really gets to the heart of it, that deep human need for an ally, for just one person. When you're feeling that isolated, the want for someone, anyone, to step in and say, I see you, or to be your voice when you can't find your own. It's just overwhelming. And you know, what's really incredible is that many of them somehow found their way to forgiveness. They grew to understand that a lot of times Their bullies were just kids who were struggling too and taking it out on others. This quote, that shows a truly profound level of empathy, right? To hope for the healing of the very person who hurt you. And this is the powerful statement that wrapped up every single person's story. After all the hurt, the loneliness, the feeling of being made less than, they all took back their identity with this simple, undeniable truth.
I was a sweet little kid, innocent, thinking nothing can harm me.
Like all through school, I was made fun of, teased.
I have been verbally abused before when I was younger.
Ignore me and treat me like I was nothing.
People who don't give me a chance.
Treat me like I was toxic.
Just because I wasn't like everyone else.
Tease you, call you fat, pick on you, stuff like that.
I always tried to be a person that was nice to everyone.
People just tell me you were ugly.
So we used to joke on each other.
Be sitting at my desk and hear people talking about me.
I cut off all my other friends kind of because I felt like everybody was fake.
People would laugh.
Things that I didn't consider bullying at the time, I realized now, like, dang, that could have really left a scar on some people, so.
I'm coming back from lunch.
I was on the playground playing in the dirt.
He was a good 2-3 years older.
She came out of nowhere like a wild animal and attacked me.
A girl who I thought was my friend sitting here bashing me with other people.
So like I kind of took a hard punch like to the chest.
She had me like thrown all in the dirt.
It'd be considered abuse now, but back then it was just like, that's what your family did. We rough around and stuff like that. And if you complain about it, you was the sensitive one.
Why are people who don't know me so bent on what I'm doing and trying to hurt my feelings when I haven't done anything to them?
They made me feel like
I was less of a person.
I was just an outcast to everybody.
I felt like people didn't treat me like I was normal.
Wasn't normal.
Like I was the only one being picked on.
Because I wasn't like them. I don't think there is a normal.
It just made me numb at the time.
In that moment, you're kind of looking for someone to stand up or be a voice for you in a time where you don't feel like you can speak for yourself.
Whoever you are that broke it up, I fuck with you.
Thinking you're gonna have that support. It wasn't really a support thing, more so like a ridicule thing.
You are mean.
I don't think they actually grasped how much hurt they were doing to somebody.
I didn't take bullying as serious as it really is.
They don't really mean to be horrible. They just want stuff to laugh about.
People don't even think about what they do and how it affects other people.
Yeah, I know they love me, but that kind of hurt my feelings. Because I know they love me, they don't really mean any harm by it.
Didn't even know that he used to hurt my feelings a lot.
At a point in time, you get tired of getting talked about.
People are a lot more sensitive than they want to let you believe.
This kid most likely was doing this out of anger and probably frustration out of something in his own life.
Like they have their own issues and they wanted to take it out on me.
I tell them,
hey, I don't really appreciate the way you're saying this.
How bad it made me feel, how it hurt me.
How it really makes me feel instead of hiding my feelings and letting it go on.
But what she did was bad.
It made me very angry toward him. I really was upset. I really didn't have the best feelings toward him.
Whatever you have going on, maybe you should talk to somebody. Maybe you should try to get help with your problems.
You need to actually think about what you're about to say to that person.
At that moment, I was incredibly angry, but I was so withdrawn already and shy that I couldn't express my anger.
Keep your hands to yourself.
Hope that they've grown out of their ways.
I know I did grow up to be more confident in myself.
I got more self-confidence, and I know who I am.
Gain confidence in myself.
Trying to better myself.
I'm much happier now, and I really don't care what people have to say about me.
Being the best person that I could be, and if I wasn't doing anybody any wrong, I didn't have to feel bad.
If you don't like me because of what I'm trying to be, then I'm not being true to myself.
Realize that what they were saying wasn't true about me.
So as long as I'm true to myself, then I'm good.
As long as you have that confidence in yourself, nobody can break you down.
But I never picked on people after that because I know how I feel.
I definitely forgive him. I pray for him that he would be okay wherever he is in his life right now.
I don't really have any grudges or anything mean to say to anybody.
I've forgiven everybody.
I pray that somebody is there to support him when he tries to confront the issues the right way.
You have to forgive to be forgiven.
I can forgive her.
God forgives us for every sin that we cause, so, it's easy for me to forgive somebody else for that.
People grow and people change.
I wouldn't be able to sleep at night if I was still trying to find her somewhere.
Sometimes you might want to talk to people who really care about you to get you through your bullying experiences.
My name is James C. Bowman.
Hi, I'm Jalen Javier.
Jasmine Hammond.
My name is DJ Dudgeon.
I am Takia Carter.
My name is Stanley Thomas.
Alexis Conaway.
And I am still human.
And I am still human.
I am still human.
And I am still human.
I am still human.
And I am still human.
I am still human.
Okay, so you have all of these shared experiences. This whole chorus of pain and resilience, how does that get transformed? Well, it becomes an anthem. These are lyrics from a song called #StillHuman. And this verse just nails what we heard in those stories, that words aren't just words. They have a real physical weight. They sting. They leave a mark. And there it is, the chorus. The song takes that powerful declaration we heard earlier and turns it into a plea, an anthem for anyone who feels unseen. It's like it's saying to the listener, if you would just look a little closer, if you'd just give a little, you would see the person standing right in front of you. So, if you boil it down, the song really zeroes in on 4 key things. It's about feeling like an outsider, the very real pain that words can cause, the danger of people who just stand by and do nothing, like the lyrics say, as long as it's not me, I don't care about what others say. And finally, it's just a simple, powerful plea for acceptance. So this brings up a huge question, right? Who writes a song that captures these feelings so perfectly? Where did that kind of insight even come from? Well, let's peel back one more layer. The answer, maybe not so surprisingly, is that the songwriter was drawing from their own past. They knew exactly what it felt like to be on the receiving end of that kind of pain, to feel broken while you're still just trying to figure out who you are. And the songwriter put a name to this whole experience: dehumanization. It's this psychological process where once you mentally strip someone of their humanity, it becomes disturbingly easy to just ignore their pain, to not care. This is the root of the whole problem. But then, this is where the story takes a completely unexpected turn. While the songwriter's own experiences laid the groundwork, the final spark of inspiration, the thing that really brought the song to life, didn't come from a story about a kid in a schoolyard. It came from an interview with a homeless man named Ronald Davis. And now, we've arrived at the very heart of our story. We're going to meet the original voice, the man whose raw honesty started this entire movement of empathy. Simply put, his name is Ronald Davis. This is the sentence that started everything. In this incredibly emotional interview about his life on the streets, Ronald Davis made this powerful distinction. It wasn't a plea for pity. It was a statement of fact. And what's so important to understand here is the context. This wasn't some philosophical idea for him. At the time, this was his daily life. Being homeless for over a year. Being told no for jobs just because of how he looked. The daily shame of having to ask for help. And sleeping on benches. And this is how he described that feeling of being dehumanized. It's just haunting. Not even like an animal, but like a cold, lifeless object. A piece of chrome. Something you just look right through. Something that doesn't feel anything.
My name is Ronald Davis. I've been on the street for about 1.5 years now. Well, I come from the suburbs. Life, which is rough. And I done slept in Lower Wacker, I done slept on the bridges, I done slept in little cardboard boxes and stuff, just surviving, especially in the wintertime is the hardest time. And I go to fill out applications for a job and stuff. They look at me, I'm not looking presentable, and then we'll call you, leave a number. But how can I leave a number when I don't have a phone? So it's just a struggle out there, I just, from day to day, people, I come out here and panhandle with my cup. Right here at the Metro train station, people come off, bringing me sandwiches and stuff like this here. And I start out in my morning about 6 o'clock. Sometimes I don't even have enough to go to the flop house. Sometimes the flop house is a cheap place and they number $16 for 24 hours right over there on Clark and Van Buren. And a lot of times I don't have enough money for that, so I had to end up sleeping in the park or on one of these benches downtown or something like this, and then the security guards come and run you off about 5 or 6 in the morning. So by 6 o'clock I started panhandling and trying to survive. And like I said before, some days I don't even have enough to get a room, so I just sleep on the street. But I depend on the people that's coming off the train because most of them I give them respect. Most of them like me. They come out and give me clothes and food and stuff like this here so I can survive. Give me a few bucks and everything, and I add it up at the end of the day and get me a little room for the night. And whenever I'm not fortunate enough to get the room, I just sleep in the street wherever I can. It's really humiliating to be shaking a cup 24 hours a day and people just look at you like you some kind of little bum, you know what I'm saying? I have had people to walk past me and say, get a job, bum. And I said, wait a minute, I'm not a bum, I'm a human being. And it's hard. But after the end of the day, when people go home and everybody get on the metro train, and then and then I just feel so bad that I can't be going home, you know. I'm sorry. But it's really emotional because I'm really trying to get myself together and get off this tree, you know. And I don't care what it's doing. If I can get a job and through this humility, you know, I mean, you just lose all your humility when you're shaking a cook begging. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you can look at a person and tell if they give you respect or not. You know what I mean? A lot of people look at you like you're just a piece of crumb. You know, I had one guy walk past me and talk about me so bad, and then I just looked at him. I said, "God bless you, sir." He walked past and went down the street, come right back. And he said, "You know what, man, I had a bad day." He said, "I'm sorry for even calling you that." He said, "Because I know you're a human being." He said, "Would you accept my apology?" I said, "Apology accepted." He went in his pocket and gave me $30 and said, "Go get you a room and get you something to eat." You know what I mean? I mean, you know, no matter what people think about me, I know I'm a human person. And just because I'm down on my luck, don't give nobody no excuse to call me no bum. Because I'm not.
Okay, so let's connect these threads. How does the pain of a bullied kid have anything to do with the experience of a man living on the streets? The link, it turns out, is profound. Just take a look at this. On the left, you've got the child who's made to feel like an outcast. On the right, the man who's looked at like he's an object. One is pushed aside just because I wasn't like everyone else, and the other, just because I'm down on my luck. Both are desperately looking for someone to be a voice for them, and both have been touched by the kindness of strangers. The situations are worlds apart, but that core human experience, it's identical. And this is the ultimate takeaway. The songwriter realized that the same exact dehumanization they felt as a child was what Ronald Davis was experiencing every single day as an adult. The core message here is that none of this is set in stone. Apathy, hatred, these are things we learn. But the good news is, so is empathy. We can learn to choose to see the human being right in front of us. So, we end with this question. Ronald Davis's story opened the songwriter's eyes to a connection they never would have seen otherwise, and it challenges all of us to think. In our own lives, at work, in our communities, or even just walking down the street, who have we forgotten is still human?
All right, let's jump into something pretty heavy today. We're taking a deep dive into bullying, how it can really stick with you, and how it all ties into this idea of dehumanization.
Sounds intense.
It is, but we've got some powerful sources to work with. We're looking at a series of YouTube videos called hashtags I am still human.
Okay.
Then there's this song, hashtag still human, that was actually inspired those videos. And get this, the songwriter also wrote a reflection, connecting it all to a news story about a homeless man named Ronald Davis.
Wow, that's quite connection. How do bullying, a song, and homelessness all fit together?
Right, that's what we're here to uncover. How these seemingly separate pieces actually reveal like a shared thread of the human experience.
I'm intrigued. I'm guessing we're not just talking about the typical name-calling kind of bullying, right?
Exactly. We're going to go deeper than that. We're going to look at those subtle psychological ways bullying can make someone feel, well, less than human.
Dehumanization, yeah. I'm ready to dive in.
Okay, let's start with those hashtag I am still human videos. What really hit me wasn't just like the raw emotion in these stories, but the sheer variety of ways bullying played out.
Yeah, I mean, it can take so many forms.
Right, like one person talked about being constantly teased about how they looked.
Yeah, that whole thing about fitting in, especially as a teenager, so much pressure, it can really mess with your self-esteem.
Totally. Then someone else described being physically attacked on the playground.
That's straight-up aggression, causing immediate harm.
And then there were these stories about social exclusion. Friends turning on them, spreading rumors, basically making them an outcast.
Oof. That kind of relational aggression, it's especially tough for young people. They're still figuring out who they are, where they belong.
It's heartbreaking. They talk about being treated as less than human, like they're stripped of their individuality.
And that's the core of dehumanization, right? It's denying someone their full personhood. Like they're not worthy of basic respect, empathy.
And it's often used to justify mistreatment, whether it's bullying on the playground or like prejudice on a larger scale.
Exactly. Makes you wonder how often it happens without us even realizing.
But here's the thing that really struck me. Amidst all that pain, these individuals showed incredible resilience. They spoke about forgiveness, accepting themselves, and refusing to let the bullying define them.
That's really powerful. It suggests that even when you go through something so traumatic, you can still find ways to heal, to reclaim that sense of self-worth.
One person even talked about how therapy helped them understand the bully's behavior. Like maybe it came from their own insecurities.
Interesting. That kind of reframing could be really powerful, right?
Yeah, they were able to let go of some of the anger they've been holding on to.
Like they detached from the personal attack and found a path toward healing.
It makes you wonder if, like, teaching empathy and emotional intelligence skills early on could prevent bullying in the first place.
Absolutely. If young people could recognize and manage their own emotions and understand the perspectives of others, it could make a huge difference in creating a more compassionate environment.
Totally. So we've seen how the hashtag #IamStillHuman videos highlight different forms of bullying, the impact of dehumanization, and the amazing resilience people can find.
Yeah, it's incredible what people can overcome.
Now let's look at the song, #StillHuman. The lyrics seem to echo the raw emotions and experiences from those videos.
Totally agree. The songwriter really captured the pain, that feeling of isolation, and the deep longing for acceptance. It's all there.
Right. Like that line, maybe you should give me a little something. Then you would just see, I'm still human.
It's almost a desperate plea for recognition, like trying to break through that wall of indifference and remind everyone that they're human too.
And it directly ties into that feeling of invisibility that so many people in the videos described. Like they were screaming to be seen, heard, acknowledged.
To be treated with basic respect, yeah. The song also touches on that bystander effect, you know, how people stay silent or even join in the bullying because it's easier than standing up for someone.
It's like that saying, the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing.
Exactly. There's a lyric that says some people just keep quiet, got their own insecurities, say their friend was getting tried up, they'd make sure to be all in that beef. Like even if they know it's wrong, they go along with it.
Wow. It's scary how conformity and fear can make people act against their conscience.
Definitely. It makes you wonder what makes someone an upstander instead of a bystander. Why do some people speak up when others stay silent?
That's a good question. There's got to be something that makes the difference.
Well, researchers have found that people are more likely to step in if they feel a sense of responsibility for the victim.
That makes sense. Like if they see them as a person, not just some target.
Right. Or if they see the situation as actually dangerous.
And if they believe they can actually make a difference, right?
Exactly. So it seems like fostering a sense of community, of shared responsibility could be key to combating bullying.
Instead of just watching from the sidelines. Turning bystanders into upstanders. I like that.
It all comes down to creating an environment where empathy and compassion are truly valued, where people feel empowered to challenge injustice, to speak up when they see something wrong.
So it's not just about stopping the bully, it's about changing the whole culture.
Exactly. And that's a much bigger challenge.
You know what's interesting? The song doesn't just reflect like the feelings of bullying. It kind of hints at some bigger issues that contribute to it, like that line about people keeping quiet because of their own insecurities. It makes you think about how society plays a role.
Absolutely. There's this theory, social dominance theory, which suggests that societies tend to organize themselves around hierarchies of power. And that can lead to certain groups being, devalued or pushed to the margins, making them more vulnerable to bullying, to dehumanization.
And if you remember those stories from the hashtag #IamStillHuman videos, a lot of them were targeted for being different. Like their appearance, their interests.
Right. Things that didn't fit the norm.
Exactly. And that brings us to the songwriter's reflection on Ronald Davis and homelessness. Remember, they connected Davis's statement, "I'm not a bum, I'm a human being," to the whole idea of dehumanization that we see in bullying.
Yeah, that's a powerful connection. In both cases, you're stripping away someone's dignity. You're reducing them to a label.
A stereotype.
Yeah. The songwriter actually uses the phrase privilege gone wild when talking about Davis.
Oh, wow.
Suggesting that privilege can blind us to the struggles of others.
It's like, if we don't see those who are different from us, it's easier to dehumanize them.
Exactly. And it can be a dangerous path. When we fail to see the worth, the dignity in every single person, well, that's when prejudice and discrimination can really take hold.
So how do we fight that? The songwriter talks a lot about boundaries. How do boundaries fit into this?
Boundaries are so important for ourselves and our relationships. They help us define our limits, communicate what we need.
Okay, I see that on a personal level, like knowing when to say no.
Right, not letting others walk all over you, recognizing that you deserve respect. But on a societal level?
I'm not sure I follow that.
Well, think about it. It's about setting norms that promote equality and fairness for everyone, challenging systems that create inequality, holding people accountable.
So it's about building a culture where dehumanization just isn't tolerated.
Exactly. Whether it's bullying or prejudice, we need to call it out. But that takes a collective effort, right? It's not enough to just be a passive bystander.
We all have a part to play. Okay, I'm starting to get it. Let's go back to those #IamStillHuman stories. We talked about resilience, forgiveness, self-acceptance. What can we learn from those who went through bullying and came out stronger?
They offer us a powerful message of hope. They show that healing is possible, that you can reclaim your sense of self-worth. You don't have to let the actions of others define you.
It's like those old sayings, what doesn't kill you?
Makes you stronger, right?
Yeah. One person talked about finding strength in their individuality, in those things that made them unique. That really resonated with me.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that bullying often targets those who challenge the norm, but those differences, they can be sources of strength, of empowerment. And the song echoes that message.
Oh, how so?
There's a line that says, I don't have to live up to your opinions. We can get along if you let me do me. It's about being yourself, not letting others define you.
That's a message everyone needs to hear, not just those who have been bullied.
It's about that universal need for acceptance, the freedom to be who you truly are.
Now, I want to shift gears a bit. Let's talk more about the songwriter's thoughts on Ronald Davis. That parallel they draw between bullying and how society treats people experiencing homelessness is really something.
It is, isn't it? It points to a bigger issue. Dehumanizing those who are different, those who don't fit in.
Like they're saying that bullying isn't just an individual problem.
It's a symptom of something deeper, a lack of empathy, a failure to see the inherent worth and dignity of every person.
No matter their circumstances. So how do we fix that? How do we build more empathy and understanding in a world that feels so divided?
Well, it starts with recognizing our shared humanity. We all have hopes and dreams, fears and aspirations. We all experience joy and sorrow. We all want connection and belonging.
We're more alike than we are different, right?
It's about looking past the labels and seeing the individual.
But empathy, it's more than just a feeling. It's got to be an action, too.
You're absolutely right. It's about listening to each other's stories, really listening without judging, trying to understand different perspectives.
Stepping outside our comfort zones.
And being willing to sit with the discomfort, to acknowledge the pain and suffering that exists.
Because true empathy means facing the fact that many people experience the world in ways we can't even imagine.
And that those experiences are often shaped by things outside their control, like poverty, discrimination, trauma. Empathy isn't about pity or charity.
It's about seeing everyone as worthy of dignity and respect.
Exactly, no matter their circumstances.
It's about seeing each person as an individual, not a stereotype.
And it's about using our voices, our actions, to build a world where everyone can thrive. A just world, an equitable world.
Okay, we've talked about some really heavy stuff, but the songwriter also offers a message of hope. Forgiveness, self-acceptance, finding strength in who you are.
Those are key ingredients in overcoming any experience of dehumanization. Forgiveness isn't about condoning what happened. It's about letting go of the anger and resentment that can hold you back.
And self-acceptance. That's about loving yourself, flaws and all. Recognizing that you are worthy of love and belonging.
It's about letting go of those negative messages we internalize, embracing your unique beauty and strength. And the song captures this beautifully. The lyrics speak to inner strength, to self-belief, to rising above.
Oh yeah, that line, as long as you have that confidence in yourself, nobody can break you down. It's like your self-worth comes from within.
No one can take that from you.
And those simple words, I'm still human, they say so much.
A declaration of worth. A demand for dignity and respect.
It's a reminder that even when others try to dehumanize you, you can hold on to your humanity, your compassion, your hope.
And that's a message worth holding on to.
Okay, we've explored so much, the power of personal stories, the link between bullying and dehumanization, the importance of empathy and understanding.
And finding strength and hope, even in the face of adversity.
It's been a deep dive into some tough stuff, but I think there's a lot of optimism here too.
Absolutely. A belief that we can create a more compassionate, a more inclusive world.
Before we wrap up, I want to go back to those boundaries. The songwriter keeps bringing them up, so I think it's worth a closer look. How do we set those healthy boundaries for ourselves and in our relationships?
Great question. Boundaries are essential for our well-being. Physically, emotionally, they're about knowing your limits, communicating your needs.
Like knowing when to say no.
Right, not letting others violate your sense of self.
Recognizing you deserve respect.
Exactly, but it's not always easy, especially if you're used to putting other first, avoiding conflict.
Yeah, that's me sometimes. So how do you actually do it? Set boundaries, I mean.
It's about paying attention to your feelings, your body's signals, your intuition. If something feels off, if you feel uncomfortable, disrespected, unsafe, that's a sign a boundary has been crossed.
And then what? What do?
You speak up, you assert your needs, you take steps to protect yourself.
Even if it's hard.
Especially if it's hard. Remember, setting boundaries is an act of self-care, self-love.
Not about shutting people out.
It's about creating healthy relationships built on respect, where everyone feels safe and valued.
I like that. We have the power to create those kinds of relationships.
And that's a powerful way to combat dehumanization, individually and as a society.
So we've covered a lot of ground, but there's always more to explore.
That's the beauty of learning, isn't it? It never ends.
Let's take a moment to reflect on everything we've discussed, and then we'll come back for the final part of our deep dive.
All right, we're back, ready to wrap up our deep dive into bullying, dehumanization, and the power of empathy. I don't know about you, but my head is spinning a little bit.
Yeah, it's been a lot to process, hasn't it?
So much. But I think it's been really valuable, too. One thing I keep coming back to is like how those personal stories in the #IamStillHuman video stayed with me. It makes you realize that bullying isn't just some phase you go through as a kid.
Right, it can have real, lasting consequences.
It can really mess you up. It highlights how important it is to see bullying as a form of trauma. I mean, there's research that shows people who are bullied, especially if it's constant or really bad, they can develop all sorts of mental health problems.
Anxiety, depression.
PTSD, even suicidal thoughts.
It's serious.
It's not just kids being kids, you know?
Exactly.
We need to take it seriously, support those who have been affected, and figure out how to stop it from happening in the first place. And understand that healing from that kind of experience, it takes time. It's a process. Those people in the video talked about forgiveness, self-acceptance, but they also admitted that they're still dealing with the scars.
It's not like it just disappears.
No, it doesn't. And the song, #StillHuman, it captures that struggle so well. It acknowledges the pain, but it also goes deeper. There's this resilience, a determination to find your self-worth again.
And a yearning for acceptance.
Yes. And the way the song repeats that phrase, "I'm still human," over and over.
Oh yeah, in the chorus.
It's like this powerful affirmation defying those forces that try to take your humanity away.
It's an anthem for anyone who's ever felt invisible or, like they don't matter.
Exactly. It's about that basic need to be seen, to be heard, to belong.
Speaking of being seen, I want to circle back to Ronald Davis, the homeless man. Remember his statement, "I'm not a bum, I'm a human being." It's crazy how those simple words kind of sum up everything we've been talking about.
It's powerful, isn't it? It's him resisting that dehumanization, refusing to accept the label that society has put on him.
He's saying, I'm worthy, I matter.
And it makes us question our own biases, those assumptions we make about people experiencing homelessness. We need to see beyond the stereotypes.
See the individual. So what can we do as individuals? How do we fight against those forces that dehumanize others? How do we create a world where everyone feels seen and valued?
Well, it starts with awareness, recognizing our own biases, those assumptions we make, challenging stereotypes and prejudice when we see it.
We've talked a lot about empathy, but it can be hard to actually put it into practice. How do we go beyond just feeling sorry for someone?
It starts with listening, really listening to others' experiences, without judging, without interrupting.
Trying to understand where they're coming from.
Even if it's different from our own perspective, and remembering that shared humanity that connects us all.
No matter who we are, where we come from. It's about putting ourselves in someone else's shoes.
Even if those shoes are worn out, full of holes. And being okay with feeling uncomfortable. Acknowledging the pain and suffering that others go through.
Because true empathy means seeing the world through their eyes, understanding that their experiences might be shaped by things we've never had to deal with. Poverty, discrimination, trauma.
It's not about pity. It's not about charity. It's about recognizing the inherent worth of every single person.
Seeing them as an individual.
And then using our voices, our actions, to create a world where everyone can truly thrive. A just world, a fair world.
Okay, well, we've covered a lot of heavy stuff today.
We've the darkness, but also the light.
Yeah. There's hope in all of this. There's potential for change. We've explored the psychology of bullying, the impact of society, the importance of boundaries, self-worth.
We've learned from those who have been pushed to the margins, seen their strength.
And I think we've discovered that building a more compassionate, more inclusive world, it starts with each one of us.
It does. Every single person has a role to play.
This deep dive has given us so much to think about, and hopefully even more to act on. Thanks for joining us on this journey. We hope it's inspired you to see the world a little differently, to embrace empathy, and to remember that even when things are tough, the human spirit is capable of amazing things. Healing, hope, it's all possible.
Their company is called Phil and DeBlanc Multimedia Enterprises.
Yeah, I saw that.
Do you know how to pronounce that?
Phil and DeBlanc.
Phil and DeBlanc.
Oh, I see what they did there.
It's perfect, right?
Ever wonder what some ancient wisdom might have to say about our very modern problems with wealth and inequality? Well, today we're going to unpack a seriously powerful text that pulls absolutely no punches. It delivers this timeless warning about money, power, and justice. Okay, let's just dive right in.
Wow. Okay, so this is not a gentle suggestion. This is the explosive opening line from the book of James, chapter 5. I mean, it's direct, it's urgent, and it is frankly shocking. It just sets this tone of impending doom right from the get-go.
The author here, James, he isn't asking for their attention, he's commanding the wealthy to mourn. This is not a discussion, it's not a debate, it's a pronouncement of judgment, and the text just immediately starts laying out the case. You know, you can almost think of what follows like a courtroom drama. James is the prosecutor, and he levels this series of very specific charges against the rich. So let's walk through the evidence he presents. The whole case is basically built on 3 pillars. First, hoarding so much wealth that it literally starts to rot. Second, totally unjust labor practices. And third, a life of just pure self-indulgence. We're gonna break down each one. The first charge, it centers on this really powerful image of corrosion. The text talks about moth-eaten clothes and ruined treasures, but what's really striking is how it applies this idea of decay to something we think of as incorruptible, precious metals like gold and silver. And this just brilliantly illustrates the point. The decay of their money isn't just a sign of waste. The text says the corrosion itself becomes an active witness testifying against them. And it gets even more intense. It acts as the agent of their punishment, a fire that literally consumes them. So let's move on to the second charge, and this one is maybe the most specific: wage theft. The text personifies the stolen wages, giving them a voice that cries out for justice. This isn't just some small financial dispute. It's an offense so huge that the outcry reaches the highest authority in the cosmos, the Lord of Hosts, a title that signifies ultimate power. And finally, the third charge. This one connects their entire lifestyle directly to their injustice. They've lived in luxury and self-indulgence, and the implication is crystal clear. Their comfort is built directly on the suffering of the very people they've exploited. Okay, so with all the charges laid out, the text moves to the consequence, and it builds to this absolutely chilling verdict that's both metaphorical and, honestly, terrifyingly visceral. So the text has established guilt, right? Through rotting wealth and these injustices that are literally crying out. But what's the final outcome? What is the sentence for these crimes? And there it is. This is one of the most stark and unsettling metaphors in the entire text. It suggests that all their indulgence, all their luxurious living, wasn't actually for their own pleasure. Ironically, it was just preparing them for their own destruction. So the crucial thing to get here is this agricultural imagery. Just like a farmer fattens up an animal for the butcher, the text argues that the rich have fattened their own hearts, their inner selves, for a day of judgment. Their luxury becomes the very thing that causes their downfall. The condemnation just hits its absolute peak here. The charges escalate from financial stuff all the way to the ultimate crime, condemning and murdering the righteous, who are shown as completely powerless to even resist. It paints this picture of systemic, violent oppression. But is this the only ancient perspective on wealth? Let's pivot for a second to a different, though related text that approaches the problem from a slightly different angle. This isn't about a contradiction, it's about adding some really crucial nuance to the conversation. We're moving from a warning about injustice to a challenge about possessions themselves. And here, the contrast is really key. You see, James is condemning the sinful actions of oppressors, but the Gospel of Matthew presents a different kind of challenge, the spiritual attachment to wealth, even for someone who seems to be a good, rule-following person. The story is fascinating. You have this rich young man who has sincerely followed all the rules his whole life, and he asks, what else do I need to do? And the answer isn't about punishing him for some injustice. He's a good guy. The challenge is aimed at his primary attachment, the one thing holding him back. He's told to let go of his possessions, and the text says he just walks away sad because he had too much of it. And this leads to one of the most famous sayings about wealth ever. The point here isn't that wealth is inherently evil, but that the attachment to it creates this almost insurmountable barrier to a higher spiritual purpose. It makes the path incredibly difficult, like trying to get a camel through the eye of a needle. So when we place these two ancient texts side by side, we start to get a much fuller picture. It's not a simple, single-minded condemnation, but a really multifaceted and enduring examination of wealth and the impact it has on the human heart. This leaves us with two core principles. From James, we get this fiery demand for economic justice. Wealth built on exploitation is condemned in the strongest possible terms. And then from Matthew, we get this profound psychological insight. Wealth can capture our hearts and block our path, even if we acquired it honestly. And this brings us to the final question that really just echoes through the centuries.
Come now, you rich people, weep and wail over the miseries that are coming on you. Your wealth is ruined and your clothes are moth-eaten. Your silver and gold are corroded, and their corrosion will be a witness against you and will eat your flesh like fire. You stored up treasure in the last days. Look, the pay that you withheld from the workers who reaped your fields cries out, and the outcry of the harvesters has reached the ears of the Lord of hosts. You have lived luxuriously on the land and have indulged yourselves. You have fattened your hearts for the day of slaughter. You have condemned. You have murdered. The righteous man, he does not resist you.
Their company is called Phil and DeBlanc Multimedia Enterprise.
Yeah, I saw that.
Do you know how to pronounce that?
Phil and DeBlanc.
Phil and DeBlanc.
Oh, I see what they did there.
It's perfect, right? Fill in the blank. It's perfect, right? It's perfect, right?